you. I think I'm going to come down here if that's okay, a little closer. I just want to let you guys know that you guys are a little friendlier than the last service. I don't know. I'm looking up here, and it seems like the last service, everybody was far back. You know, we got people up front, which is good. And I just want to start off by just telling you all that we are so blessed, my wife and my 6 children, to be in Coachella Valley and to be a part of the ministry of the Salvation Army and to be a part of this church family. You know, a lot of times when I get an opportunity, which doesn't happen too often, to go out and to visit other brothers and sisters in Christ and be a part of a congregation or a meeting or whatever, I leave totally blessed. I feel so filled already from the first service and just coming, because so often, and maybe you find yourself this way as well, especially as pastors and ministers, you know, we get so involved in our own stuff, you know, in our own congregation, that a lot of times we don't get a chance to go out and to be a part of other church services and to be blessed. And so just so you know, when I leave today, I'm going to be going back to our service, and I'm feeling great. I'm feeling full of spirit, and thank you so much for that. We have been, like HB talked, that we have been here in the Valley for some 5 years now. But I want to tell you a little bit about my beginnings, and then maybe share a little bit about how we came to the Salvation Army, and then how we ended up being here, and then talk a little bit about the vision of the Salvation Army here in Coachella Valley, and what we've been a part of, what God has been doing. And but let me start from the beginnings. I came to believe in my Lord and Savior later in life. I was in my late 30s, was not raised in the church. Both my mom and dad to this day are not believers, and we pray for them fervently that they will know Jesus. But I wasn't raised in church, and it wasn't until later on in life, and I had all those questions growing up, like we all do, right? You know, why am I here? You know, why was I born? What is my purpose in life? You know, we're all searching for those answers, right? And we're blessed that we found the answers in Jesus Christ, but there's so many, and myself included, when I was younger, growing up. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, because I had friends and others that went to church, but my family just didn't take me there. So it wasn't until later in life I was introduced to a gentleman. I was in anybody know where Santa Rosa is in the Bay Area? Beautiful place. You ever been to Lagar French restaurant in Old Railroad Square? If you haven't been there and you're going to Santa Rosa, go there. It's a great place, especially if you like Swiss French cuisine. It was a wonderful place in my mid-20s and into my 30s to work. But it was a very competitive environment. I don't know if you know the plumbing or the restaurant business, but especially in this environment, there are very few hours, very few opportunities to make money, and so there was always competition. I think there were 6 or 7 of us that were waiters, and everybody was just gossiping and backbiting and all of those kinds of things. I remember a friend that I had there, a guy who befriended me who was a little bit older, and he seemed to not ever get involved with any of that stuff. He always seemed to be above all of the stuff that was happening. And I was thinking to myself, what's up with this guy? You know, there's something different about this man. You know, he's always got a smile on his face. He's never getting pulled into the stuff, and people would talk to him about issues and things, and he just wouldn't go there with people. And so I wanted to know what that was. And I remember his name to this day, a great dear friend, Wes Bishop, up in Santa Rosa. And he mentored me. He spent the time, had coffee with me because I had questions. I wanted to know where he got his joy, where he got the spirit that he had. And he introduced me to Jesus Christ. And that led into being baptized and having a personal relationship with my Lord and Savior. And just a wonderful start of a journey. And after that journey began, I started a family. And, you know, the restaurant business is not the best for family, especially a family of 6, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do? You know, what can I do? You know, I love to work with my hands. I love to create things. You know, I've always been that way from a kid. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what, maybe an electrician, or maybe I could be a carpenter. You know, I like working with my hands, building things. And somehow I found my way to being an apprentice as being an apprentice as a plumber. and working in Santa Rosa for a few years, working in the restaurant business, and going to church and being baptized in my local church there, and starting a small family, and thinking to myself, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. And my wife was from Everett, Washington, and my folks actually, after they retired from Santa Rosa, they moved up to the Northwest, and we thought of ourselves, well, why don't we move up to where they're at? My wife was from Everett, Washington. She knew the area, and so we moved up to Anacortes, Washington. Anybody know where that is? Beautiful place, yeah. Especially in August, July, it's nice and warm. The sun's out, The rest of the time, it's gloomy, so you got to have the jackets and the warm and stuff like that. So we went up there and found very quickly that, I could start my own business. I've had a couple years under my belt doing the plumbing, and, it's great working for other people, but I can do my own thing. And so I took out a loan and started a business, Anacortes Plumbing. It's still active this day. We won, I think, 3 years in a row, Best Plumber locally. And at one time, we had up to 6 employees and grew the business. We had the business for just over 10 years and did a lot of radiant floor heating. The biggest house, we did so many high-end homes. It was amazing. It was just one after another. And we got into this pocket of contractors that were doing custom homes, people who were retiring and sometime building on property that the family owned. And I remember building, I think they had 6 or 7 bathrooms. It was amazing. We were on the project for 2 years in a 20,000 square foot house looking over the Puget Sound, and it was wonderful. We literally enjoyed it. But I remember thinking to myself, and at the time we were going to another church on Whidbey Island, and my wife was active with the Salvation Army as a young girl, going to camps. And I remember in our church we were supporting the local Salvation Army there in Anacortes and doing toy gift exchange and purchasing gifts for the kids and things like that. And we were involved in the youth group at our own church. And this is how it is a lot of times when you go to the churches like we're involved in is, you have 15 to 16 kids that are involved in the youth group, right? And they're taking them on events and active and doing things Friday nights. And there's 15 or 16 young adults or parents that are involved as well. And it's great. There's a lot of mentoring. And then we went to the Anacortes Salvation Army, and there was a poor pastor, an officer like myself, trying to wrangle these 30 or 40 kids, and we just said to ourselves, this is where we need to be. This is where we need to start doing. And I remember another thing that started happening at that time as well, and we were helping out at the Salvation Army, helping out, and we were going to our church, and we were getting involved in doing more and more homes, and we were taking vacations, and we were probably vacationing with our family 5 or 6 times a year, and we were getting ready to build on the 2-acre property overlooking the Puget Sound, our custom home that we had designed, with a nice radiant floor heating. Anybody knows about that? You know about that? Yeah. It's kind of nice, you step out of the bathtub or the bat shower and you've got nice tile floor and it's all nice and warm. We were doing that, and we were going to do this in our own home and stuff. But I remember God was speaking to me, and he spoke to me through a few passages, and the one that's most clear today is the passage it's in Matthew 7. And Jesus talks about these people that come to him and say, we did all these amazing things in your name, and, we cast out demons, right? And we prophesied and all this kind of stuff. And he looked at them and he told them clearly, I never knew you. I never knew you. And I remember reading that and thinking to myself, Lord, am I really doing what you want me to do? Am I really doing, am I just a lukewarm Christian? Am I just a closet Christian? Or am I praising your name from the hilltops? It was through that verse and through other circumstances where the Lord called me to ministry. He said, you know what, Sean, you need to just give up that plumbing and you need to start following the path that I've set before you. I've got a path for you. And so he started this journey for us. And it took a little bit of time. We moved very slowly into ministry with the Salvation Army. My wife actually ran the plumbing business for a year or two while I was able to then start working for the Salvation Army in Everett, Washington, working with the homeless and starting an outpost and starting after-school programs and soup kitchens and things like that for a few years. And then he called us to full-time ministry with the Salvation Army, both of us together, and of course, my 6 children. And so we packed our kids up into I don't know, it was one of the smallest U-Hauls you can rent. And we sold everything and left it behind and packed everybody. And I told my poor kids, because we had 6 and only a 10-foot U-Haul, that you have 2 boxes and you have to put your special things in, and that's all you get. And so we got rid of everything. We didn't keep anything. And drove to Rancho Palos Verdes and went back to seminary at almost the age of 40, and went back to school for the Salvation Army. And how it works with the Salvation Army is that we're basically missionaries to America. They can send us wherever and whenever they want to. We've had the privilege of being in ministry for the Salvation Army here for 5 years, but it could have been 3 years. It could have been 10 years. You never know. And we feel confident that the people that lead us and send us are prayerful and that God is leading where they send us. And HB had mentioned that we're heading to El Cajon here shortly. We're known as the Builders now, so they've got another project for us to work on down there now that we have this new gymnasium completed. And so they sent us, and how it works with the Salvation Army is they have a big an event for the commissioning ordination, ordained as pastors, as ministers, and we get sent out, commissioned to ministry into the field. And we had no idea where we were going. There's, I think, 6 or 7 people who actually know what's inside the manila envelope as they give you your marching orders. And they give that to you, and they say, "You are going to Cathedral City." And we said, "What? Where is that?" We didn't say that. We were thinking that. And but my mom and stepdad in the audience, who retired 5 years earlier to Palm Springs, jumped up and down saying, "Oh, yay, we know exactly where that is." And so we were they were excited and we were excited. We came out here and, we have furlough, which is Salvation Army use military terms, right? So officer, pastor, Corps is a church. We live in a quarter, so we were on furlough, and we came out to the desert a little early. It might be a week before we started our new appointment, and we're thinking to ourselves, it's 120 out here. What the heck? And we should have stayed at the coast a little bit longer, We should have just waited. But we came out, and we just fell in love with the ministry. We've been here 5 years. We've been just so blessed. I mean, to be able to wake up, I meet pastors and officers in the Salvation Army, and, it's like anything, sometimes people grumble, and sometimes people complain, and some people, say stuff on Facebook, and it's just like, come on, give me a break. Are you serious? You get to get up every morning and go down and to do God's work. I mean, what better job is there? I mean, you're getting paid to bring joy and hope and peace and love into the world. I mean, how can you complain about that kind of stuff? It blows my mind. But, that's just the way it is. But we get to the privilege of serving in Cathedral City, which is where our headquarters is. But we're responsible for all the activities for the Salvation Army all across Coachella Valley. And so we've partnered with the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission. We've been involved with Martha's Village and Kitchen, Galilee Center, you name it. We're working with them. Kiwanis Club, Seroptimus, Rotary Clubs, all of them. We do the Veteran Expo every year. We love that. We are out at Stater Brothers, as you know, bell ringing every year. I mean, it's just wonderful stuff. Back in the Salvation Army in Cathedral City, though, because I have 6 children, we found very quickly that there wasn't a lot for kids in the community to do. You go to Palm Springs and you've got the pool, and you've got the YMCA, and you've got the Boys and Girls Club, you've got a park and rec department. You go to Palm Desert and you've got this beautiful facility for kids. Cathedral City, you've got a Boys and Girls Club that's just busting at the seams. And 60,000 residents of Cathedral City with nothing to do, and so these kids just go into these communities and they're getting in trouble. They're sitting on their Nintendo, and they're getting into things that they shouldn't. They're getting into gangs and graffiti and all this kind of stuff. And so we started praying about it, and God allowed us to start this capital campaign. We've been on this journey for about 4.5 years, a $3 million project. And we just completed the fundraising, and we are blessed to be under budget, under time as far as the construction. And so we're going to be opening our doors to the community of Cathedral City and here on the 23rd of June. just in time for 3-4 days to enjoy, the Kelsey family to enjoy, before they send us off to El Cajon to start another campaign down there to bring a new worship center, a new gymnasium, and also a new senior nutrition and food bank to El Cajon. It's been an amazing journey. The Salvation Army is in 150 countries, 127 countries around the world. This last year, we just celebrated 150 years of service. And, the Army is one of those organizations that does not kind of toot their own horn, so to speak. Many times I go out and speak at Rotaries or organizations, and they say, I never knew that you guys did that, or I never knew that, when the Red Cross, who we love, gets a referral from the fire department, and they put people in the hotel for a couple nights, that the Salvation Army is the one that gets the next fax that says, hey, can you reach out to these folks, give them a call, they're out of their house, they need bedding, they need clothing, they need furniture, they need support. We're the ones that go. And you know what? It's okay. We do it. We don't need to be known for all the things that we do, whether it's disaster services and being on the front line in Orlando and San Bernardino and being a part of that. It's okay. We just do what we do. And you guys know. That's what's important. And we know what we do. So that's the important thing. We're so blessed. Like I said, we wake up every day and we go down to our facility and we get to do the things that we do each and every day, and we are truly blessed. And we are truly blessed by Friendship Church. You guys, and I'm sure you know, whether it's bell ringing or helping at Thanksgiving, coming down and serving and all those kinds of things, the things that we do with the Veterans Expo every year up here in Indio, you guys have been a blessing to us, and we're privileged to be able to, if you want to come down and see it on our opening on the 23rd, we have as you come into the new facility for the youth community center, and just before you walk through the door, where there's a plaque that says, and there's a surfboard of Bethany Hamilton with the lady who lost her arm, and there's a picture of Nick Vujicic, who's the man who is an inspiration in Life Without Limbs. 2 pictures of him. There's a verse right before you enter into the main area where the gym is. It's gorgeous. It says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so we would love for you to come see that. And then before you see that, you're going to see this beautiful plaque that is dedicated to Friendship Church and the community and the support that you guys have given us over the many years. Just a little token of our thank you. It's a paver in a big shield that's been carved out among other very folks that have supported us over the years as well. And so I want to thank you so much in closing. Thank you all for everything you've done for us, and know that you will continue to support the new lieutenants who will be coming out here next week. And we thank you very much. God bless.